Our story today takes us to ancient Korea, to a man who had three sons but had no daughter. And it was his wish to have a daughter. So he went to the mountains and he prayed and prayed and prayed for a daughter. But his prayers were not answered. Until one night, after months of prayers, he was so desperate that he prayed, "Please, Hananim, give me a daughter, even if she is a fox." And this prayer was answered. Soon, the man's wife was pregnant, and in a short time, she gave birth to a beautiful girl, and the man was very happy with her. But when that girl was 6 years old, strange things began to happen. The man had a farm, and in his farm he raised many cows, and every night one of his cows would die, and in the morning they would never find a trace of what killed it. So one night the man told his first son to keep watch, and in the morning his son told him a terrible story of what happened. He said, "Father, I could not believe my own eyes. It is our little sister who is killing the cows. She came out in the middle of the night, and I followed her to the cattle shed. And by the moonlight I could see her as she did a little dance. Then she oiled her arm and shoved her arm into the cow and pulled out its liver. She ate it raw, while the cow died without a sound. That is all I saw, Father, for it was too horrible to witness any longer." The father was outraged. "That is not possible," he said. "Tell me the truth." And the boy retorted, "That is the truth, Father." "Then you must have had a nightmare. That means you have betrayed my trust by falling asleep when you were supposed to keep watch," the father said. "Leave my sight at once. You are no longer my son." And he punished his oldest son. And now it was the second son's turn to keep watch. Everything was fine for a month. But then when the full moon came around, the same thing happened. In the morning, he made his report to his father. And his father said, "That is not possible. Tell me the truth." So he told his father, "That is the truth, Father." And again, his father accused him of falling asleep and having a nightmare and betraying his trust. So he kicked him out of the house as well. Finally, it was the youngest son's turn to keep watch over his sister. And once again, everything was fine for a month. And when the full moon came around, the same thing happened. But having seen the fates of his older brothers, the youngest son lied. He said, "Father, our little sister came out in the middle of the night, and I followed her to the outhouse. She made water and came out again. As I passed by the cattle shed in the moonlight, I saw that a cow had died. It must have been frightened by the full moon." So his father said, "Then you have done your duty as a son should, and you shall inherit my lands when I have gone to join our ancestors." Meanwhile, the first two sons, who were now living as beggars, found their way to the top of a mountain where an old Buddhist master took them in, and they studied diligently under him. But eventually, they grew homesick, and they wanted to visit their old village. The old master gave the two brothers a gift: 3 magic bottles, one white, one blue, and one red, and he instructed them to to use these bottles to defeat any foe, even their sister, who is surely a fox demon. The brothers thanked the old monk and returned to the village. But when they did, they found their village completely abandoned, like a ghost town. And when they reached their house, they found the roof in a terrible condition, and they found their yard overgrown with weeds. And inside, the paper panels on the doors were all in tatters, and they found their sister all alone. Where is everyone? Where is father? Where is our younger brother? Where is mother? They asked. They all lay in their graves, she replied, giving them no explanation for their deaths. But the brothers knew why they died. I am all alone now, she said. Brothers, won't you stay with me? The brothers obviously refused. We must be on our way now, there is nothing for us here. But the sister tried to convince them, and with a little bit of convincing, they reluctantly agreed for some reason. And somehow, the sister prepared to them a fabulous meal and a lot of wine. They were suspicious, and they planned to take turns keeping watch through the night, but they had been so hungry during their poverty time that they ate and drank their fill, and soon they were fast asleep. And then, in the middle of the night, the older brother awoke, suddenly with a full bladder. He thought his younger brother was still eating. It sounded like someone was chewing. So he turned over in annoyance to tell him to stop. And the moonlight shone through their broken roof, and he could see the table still in the room, their leftovers thrown about. But instead of white rice, he saw maggots, and instead of wine, there were cups of blood, and instead of turnip and kimchi, there were severed human fingers. He sat up in horror, realizing what he had eaten, and then he saw what was making the noise. It was his sister, straddling his dead brother's body, showing on his bloody liver. Did you sleep well, oh dear brother? I need only one more. Then I will be a human being. The older brother leapt from his sleeping and ran out of the house, but his sister chased him, and she easily caught up to him. But luckily for him, he was able to remember the instructions of the Buddhist monk. The brother took the white bottle and threw it behind him, and suddenly, in a puff of smoke, a vast thicket of thorn bushes blocked the sister's way. She was trapped for a moment, but she changed into her original form, a fox, and was able to easily escape. And then she was able to catch up to her brother again. This time, her brother took the blue bottle and threw it behind him. There was a loud splash, and a vast lake appeared behind him. And once again, the sister was trapped, and she struggled to swim, but then she changed into a fox again. The oldest brother was exhausted and terrified, and couldn't run anymore. So he took the red bottle and threw it at the fox, and there was a blinding flash of light, and the fox was engulfed in a ball of fire, and she burned to death while screaming. And when there was only ashes left, a small whining insect flew out. And that is the end of our story. See you next time, and I hope you enjoyed.